So much crazy stuff going on lately, it's hard to keep focused. I mean, there's a lot going on in the world right now, and then trying to maintain my sanity, creativity, and still be strong for everybody else, it can really take a toll on you. But we're gonna try to navigate this as best way as possible. Your words become your thoughts, and your thoughts become your actions, and your actions become your reality. So you're always gonna speak positivity. Let's do some affirmations. My potential is limitless, and I trust myself to grow. I radiate confidence, and I attract abundance. I'm worthy of success, love, and happiness. I honor my uniqueness and I stand strong in my authenticity. I am becoming the highest version of myself every day. For those who don't know me and those who do know me, I want to give a reintroduction or a new introduction. My name is Aviante, and you could call me Avi for short, and I am a fine artist. I'm a painter, a creative content director as well. I talk a lot about mindful living, intentional living, and romanticizing your life. I'm a complete self-taught artist. I have no conventional background inside of art or creativity. If you know me, you probably know me more from my TikToks, and my TikToks talk a lot about mindful living and also being very intentional with your actions. Being in LA since I was 19. I ran away to LA because I grew up in poverty. I grew up in gun violence. I grew up in mischief and crime, and I was a part of it. But in me wanting to pursue a bigger and better life, because I always done music. I love music. I study music and wrote music since I was 11. I grew up in recording studios. Majority of my family are musicians in some capacity. Creativity always been deeply rooted into my foundation. In the midst of me finding my creativity, I grew up in a poverty-stricken and one of the most segregated cities inside of the U.S., which is Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Eventually, I went to L.A. I went to L.A. with about $800 in my pocket, and I slept in my car for 2 months. Those 2 months, I tried to focus on getting a job, finding some type of stability, and trying to get my work out there. I ended up getting a songwriting deal, so I did songwriting professionally for about 2 years, and that deal came to an end, and I got to some legal problems. After my legal problems had got settled, I started to evaluate who I am as a human, and why do things plan out the way that they plan out. I started to study my own mind and reshaping the things that I learned when I was inside of survival mode. Mind you, this is all in my early 20s. I spent countless times alone, sleeping inside of my car, door dashing just to make a quick dollar, but I relentlessly pursued my creativity no matter what. Fast track, here we are. I am in my late 20s now. I live inside of LA all by myself, and I'm navigating on how to become a professional artist and how to get my creativity out there a lot more. Although I found some very, very minor successes out of my artistic career, I'm still trying to figure out how I can push myself out there and push the limits and the boundaries that society or myself has placed. Every day, I'm always trying to figure out exactly how I could become a better human, how I could become better for myself and others that are around me, how I could develop my creativity, and how I could get my work out there in more creative ways. I haven't found the perfect formula yet. Life is about innovating. Sometimes you have to adjust when things hit you. There's always going to be uncertainty. There's always going to be moments where you just feel doubtful. But in those moments, you have to confine inside of yourself because you got you through this before. There was a quote that Steve Harvey once said, "You have 100% success rate of getting through everything that you've been through." And that's facts. I usually start my mornings off pretty slow. I try my best to wake up early. Lately, it's been hard because I've been on TikTok live late recently, all through the night. And so ideally, I want to wake up around like 6, 7 o'clock. Lately, it's been around like 8 or 9 o'clock, only because I'm not getting good sleep. So I need to plan for my lives to start earlier and also end a little bit earlier so I can get the adequate amount of sleep so I can be productive as early as I please. When I say I start my mornings off slow, usually I have some nice soft music playing in the background, usually like jazz or like some classic piano, things to get my mind going with no words. I do my skincare routine, I meditate, journal, walk my dog, eat probably a light breakfast. And so that's what I did today. We're going to go to the gym today because I believe that the body and the mind is heavily connected, and both of them are important in order for you to make fluent and great pieces of art. We're going to head to the art store, grab some more art supplies because we're going to start a new art project. And we're going to see where else the rest of the day takes us. Another introduction, this is my dog, Cozy. She is a female golden doodle. I had her since she was 13 weeks. So just when she was able to leave her mother, she's been with me. She need a haircut right now, but we'll get her together someday soon.
There comes a time when you have to decide. A time when all the distractions, all the excuses, all the doubts have to fade away. A time when you say, enough is enough. That time is now. Lock in. You've spent too long talking about what you're going to do. Too long waiting for the perfect moment. Too long making plans and setting goals without real execution. You've been thinking about it, For years. When will you start doing? Because here's the truth. Nobody cares about your dreams until you make them real. Nobody is going to come hand you success. Nobody is going to wake you up at 5 a.m., push you to work harder, and make sure you don't quit. That's your job. And the moment you take full responsibility for your future, that's when things start to change.
I'm curious to how y'all be feeling, because I feel super good after I work out. And this is why I always say that like fitness or just moving your body is real imperative for like mental clarity and also to help you feel accomplished. You know what I mean? Because if you could master your body, or you could master discipline and going to the gym, I feel like that you could master a lot of different things. Because fitness, it is a mastery of self. It is, I think, one of the biggest practices of self-discipline. And it's just telling yourself, you know what, I matter, or I care. I had seen a video one day and somebody said that discipline is a form of self-love, because you're telling yourself that the things that you do want or you care for, it matters. You're putting yourself first. So in moments when you feel like, I don't want to do this, or you feeling lazy, or you putting yourself last, what does that says? How you care about yourself. And honestly, that shaped my perspective on how I view discipline and showing up for myself. Because in moments when I'm just laying in bed and I'm feeling like real lazy, I ask myself, or I think, like, do I matter? Do I care about myself? Do I love myself? I'm be like, yeah. And that kind of put the battery in my back to get up and start moving. This summer, I went through a breakup, and I was just like re-challenging and reshaping my mind and challenging my thoughts. And low key, I had to like break myself down and build myself back up, at least how I view the world or myself. And although I did that before, it was never to this degree. And so it was a lot of challenges. It was difficult. And I fell off of my fitness journey. And so I wasn't working out a lot. I was depressed. I was going out more than usual. I started gaining weight, drinking a lot of alcohol and just doing things when people are really facing challenges and dark moments. And I think I was masking it. The fact that I wasn't okay, the fact that I wasn't comfortable with myself at that moment. And like that breakup was like doing something to me. So I was partying a lot more and going out a lot more. And in that moment, I wasn't even conscious that this was the things that was really like bringing me down. You know what I mean? That was leading me to my demise. So I started gaining a lot of weight. That was in the middle of the summer. Towards the end of the summer, probably November, October, September, that's when I realized I got to make a change, because I felt like I started letting myself go. And I think it was a time where I had to like confide inside of myself, be comfortable with myself, and I had to mentally make a change. And when I mentally start switching, then I started looking at myself in the mirror. It's just a biggest contributor to why I feel the way that I feel, because I'm not healthy. I don't feel healthy. I don't feel good because I'm letting my body go. I'm letting my discipline go. I feel lazy, more groggy, because I'm not watching the things that I eat or I consume as much. And so about November of last year, that's when I started making a shift in my brain about taking my fitness more seriously. And it was small but subtle ways. A lot of people think and they perceive that they have to just out the gate, just hit the ground running. But no, I hit the ground walking, minor steps. And eventually, once you start falling into those habits, or you start realize that you need to do more, you're going to start doing more. If you're going to be serious, you're going to start doing more. If you're serious, you're going to start taking it more serious. And so in November, it was small steps, just watching my diet, small things that I eat, stop drinking as much alcohol. Came late November, that's when I completely cut out alcohol. But then I started working out a lot more too. I started running. I started watching what I eat. I started fasting. Man, I'm back in the gym about 4 or 5 days a week. I used to drink damn near every day. And it was every day to the point where I was like consuming like a bottle of vodka like damn near every 3 days. Like it was, I ain't gonna lie, child, it was bad. Like I was really going through something for real. And now I can reflect on it and I can see, because I'm out of it. And I think reflection is the biggest key when it comes to just mastering anything and to prevent yourself from falling back in the same holes or the same habits. Reflection and understanding why you was at where you was at, and what were symbols or signs that you were actually feeling like this, or why was you feeling like this. Self-awareness is key, and the only way you can obtain self-awareness is through reflection. But anyways, I'm back. I feel a whole lot better. I dropped probably like 15 pounds since November, and we're gonna keep going strong. I feel super healthy. I feel active. I have more energy, looking better, looking great. And also this has helped my creativity in so many different ways. But as you see, the gym is over for the day. We still got some daylight, so I'm gonna head to the art store right now. We're gonna grab some art supplies. I'm in downtown LA. The art store is closed, but also the fashion district is closed as well. So we're gonna go there, maybe see if we can find some fabrics or some things to play around with. I really wanted to get into making leather goods. and also just putting my sewing machines to work, because I have a serger machine and I have a sewing machine. Then I got gifted another sewing machine. I got a bunch of fabrics at home. I got sewing needles. I got a bunch of stuff at home just to create fashion. And I feel like eventually my art career is going to branch off into fashion. I want to start a fashion line. Like, I've always been obsessed with fashion as well, and just like making wearable art, you know what I mean? And so I told myself in the beginning of this year, I'm going to hit the ground running when it comes to fashion and just start something, you know what I mean? Even if it's in like the smallest ways. Like, I want to make like a bag. Eventually I want to get into making high-end luxury handbags and streetwear and outerwear, because I love jackets and I love hoodies and things like that. And so I want to get into making that. I could design it, but I want to learn how to cut and sew and make it myself. And so that's where we're going to start. And so yeah, we here to the art store, then to the fashion district, and then we're going to put this stuff to work.
Just let a young nigga come take you up under. You don't want it, baby, you don't want it. Counting 20, 40, 60, 100. And if you leave with me, I'll be running the street, I'll fuck you up.
I can't quite say I know where I'm heading with this idea that I have. All I know is just an idea. And it's kind of dangerous going to the art store not knowing what you want to grab, because this stuff is not cheap. But I know I'm going to experiment with a lot of different mediums. I'm going to experiment with texture, and I experimented with texture before. I feel like my new recent work has pushed away from it, so I really want to start doing that again. So I have some gel matte paste and some crackle paste, which I never used before, and I'm going to grab some acrylic paint as well, just for my background. I know I predominantly use oils for my subjects, but I'm trying to get a little bit more creative with my background, so we'll see what we can find.
Avante?
That's me?
You have $8. Do you want to use them?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Comes down to $58.46.
Do I need anything else?
Brushes.
I just bought some brushes too,
Never mind.
so that's good. I think I should be fine.
Also, everything's on sale. That's on sale to the end of February. So just
Oh, I didn't notice y'all had that huge sale.
yeah, so it's on the everything you bought
Was
was
on
on
sale?
sale. Yeah.
Damn. I want to go look at some of your oil
Oh, yeah,
paints
no
too. I
worries.
know the
I can put
Van Gogh.
on pause.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna look at your Van Gogh oils. Chad, it's my lucky day. It's my lucky day. I do got a question, if you don't mind. Are you familiar with the Van Gogh oil paints or no?
A little bit. What's the question?
So predominantly, I will use. I can't think of the name of the paint now.
Was it an oil paint?
Gablin, yeah,
Gamblin,
Gamblin.
okay,
Usually
yeah.
I use that. I guess trying to figure out in comparisons to the Gamblin, how is it?
It's gonna be closer to like Gamblin 1980.
Okay.
If you use the 1980s,
Yeah.
they're like the student grade.
Yeah,
It's a little
exactly.
bit lower. Yeah.
It's a little bit lower.
Well, it's similar to those. That's why it's not locked up.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay. What would be something that would be equivalent or higher?
To Gamblin.
Yeah.
That'd be like the Williamsburg. Or this one. Williamsburg, like these two are the highest. Old Holland and Williamsburg, but also like the prices.
Yeah, that makes
Because
sense.
the pigments get crazy.
Yeah.
And then also the Windsor Newton's also really good. Not as popular. Well, not as often. I'm not an oil painter, but
Gotcha.
most people go for the Williamsburg and the Old Holland for like top.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. It's crazy.
So it's bumped up to 137.26.
So Buddy was not trying to let me film inside the store at all. So I got very minor clips. I couldn't really show you around the store, but you got the gist of it. I did find some fabric that I could use for a tote bag. And my design is going to be very unique. I got, you know, we don't do simple stuff. You know what I mean? I'm really excited to get back into sewing. I haven't sewed in about 2 years. It's been a long time. So I got to get better at the craft and I got to refresh my memory on it. So I figured what's a better way to start than with the tote bag. So that's what we're going to do. I did end up getting that more expensive paint. Oh man, it hurt buying it. It was like $11 and some change per tube. And it was like a little smaller tube. But I was really interested to figure out how the pigment is going to show up and how vivid my compositions can be as well. Previously, all I used was basically like Gambling and another brand I can't think on top of my brain right now. And so I'm excited to see how this work out. They did have a more expensive one, which is like $15 per tube. I'm like, nah. Let's test this one out first and see what happened. I got an Italian raw Sierra, I got a Ochre Sierra, and an unbleached titanium white. And those specific ones. And I got a bunch of acrylics that I can use for the background. So right now we're going to chill out. I'm charging my car right now, watch some YouTube. On top of that, we got some good eats. You see, I already started on it, don't panic. Good Mediterranean food. This is actually my first meal of the day. I haven't been hungry, but I need to start eating more, especially with my fitness goals. And plus on top of that, eating out, it gets super expensive. There's one time I tracked and it said I probably spent like $200 or $150 on eating out. And that's insane. And so we're also gonna meal prep when we get back to the house. So we're gonna meal prep. I'm gonna start cutting these patterns out and maybe start new painting, who knows? It's a lot. And it's already 4:45 right now. We'll see what the Lord says, you know? But in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy this delicious pita bread and hummus with this grilled chicken and lamb. Here's your bite. Woo! And I'll catch y'all later.
Might take gas downtown, if you stay down, you can feel it.
So yesterday I wasn't able to get everything that I was going to do because I had to get up super early. By the time I got home, traffic, charging my car, it was a wrap. Got back to the crib, took a shower, went to bed. So today I got up around like 8 a.m. again. Had to run some errands, go to the grocery store, get a few more things so I can meal prep today. So that's what we're going to knock out now. We're going to knock out some meal prep. I'm actually got to film some TikToks as well of me cooking. So I'm going to show y'all the behind the scenes aspect of me making these TikToks and my cooking videos. And so I'll show that. And then after that, then we'll get started on the sewing project and then getting our background together for the art. I'm feeling real good. I'm feeling real blessed. A lot of reflection. I'm very happy with the decisions I made in my life thus far because I feel like every single decision that we do make brings us closer to ourselves and to our true identity. And so whether it was good or that was bad in the moment, I'm convicted and I have no regrets for any decisions that I made in life. I'm grateful for every experience that I have, the people that crossed paths in my life, and all the things that I learned, you know what I mean? That's why I feel like reflection is really big when it comes to self-awareness and also autonomy and achieving the greatest level of autonomy, because you have to understand your patterns, what you did wrong, or areas where you could improve so that you could be the best version of yourself, and understand how do you react in certain situations or why certain things cause you to do certain things. It's just being like really abundant and self-aware. And I feel like I have extreme, almost mastery level of self-awareness. And through these experiences is how I was able to understand myself a lot better so I could show up for other people and also the world better. But yeah, that's it for my TED Talk for right now. We're gonna get to these cooking videos. Let's knock them out. So I pulled majority of my sewing stuff out. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm gonna start off by sketching out the idea that I want, try to figure out the measurements, and then I'm gonna pull out some fabric paper so I can draw my sketch onto the paper, and then we're gonna trace it onto the fabric, cut it out, and then begin sewing. But first it comes with me actually making or creating the design. So that's what I'm gonna do now on my iPad. Hopefully we get this done before the day's over, because I don't wanna push this into the next day again.
This one thing I want to admit. This one thing I know so
So this is one of the half of the bag. I'm pretty pleased with how it came out. I'm not gonna lie. When I first started this project, I'm like, bro, I don't like it. And it's more of the fabric. I feel like it was too thin, but I'm like, I just gotta see it through. Even if I don't like it in the end, I just got to complete it. You know, I gotta finish when I started. And so far I'm liking it. So I'm going to do this again. Then I'm gonna sew the two pieces together. Then we're gonna put the handle on it, and then boom, we'll be all done.